about their trip. Because, Bible study, which we do here, one of the things about Bible study, the reason you do it is so that you can practically apply what the Bible says to do. And they have done that. And so they're going to share the results of what happened. So I am going to move myself from the throne. And I'm going to invite the first speaker to come. And I told them they can do whatever they're going to do all the way till 7:30. So please welcome Jason Hale.
So, my name is Jason. You see my family and I, Deanna, Jaden, and Jackson, myself. We just returned yesterday from Thailand with Global Ventures. I'm not sure how many people in here have done a Global Ventures trip. All right. So some have, some have not. So I'll kind of give you guys that haven't gone just kind of a brief synopsis of how it works. So Global Ventures, founded by John and Martine Smithwick. They're out of Oklahoma, just right outside of Tulsa, and have put together just an amazing ministry and every year amazing opportunities for people just like you and me, our families, to sign up and go and share the gospel. I think they already have their 2027 trips listed out there, but every year, one place that they always go is Thailand. They're a part of a whole plan to canvass the country of Thailand with the gospel. And so this was our first trip with Global Ventures. We've done missions in the past with different organizations, but this was our first trip with Global Ventures, and it was an amazing time. As you can see, both of our children are internationally adopted. Jackson, our youngest, is from Thailand. So, of course, that was kind of part of our desire to go back there. We definitely have a heart for Southeast Asia as a whole. So, like I said, Global Ventures has gives you an opportunity to do mass evangelism on a mission trip. Some mission trips are more service project oriented. We've done those. A lot of times you have some one-on-one time with those that you're serving. But if you've never had an opportunity to do mass evangelism, and just that's all it is mass evangelism, then Global Ventures gives you an opportunity to do that. So we landed. We had 2 days of training on site. Just to kind of confirm the things that they want you to prepare in advance anyway. And we had 95, I believe it was, people from all over the U.S., plus Global Ventures staff. So we ended up with 10 teams of 10 or more people. And the area that we went to, we flew into the south, to the island of Phuket, and then we drove 5 hours by bus all the way back across to the east coast to a province called Nakhon Si Thammarat. And I guess what we learned about that area is when Buddhism first came to Thailand, that's the first place, that province was the first place that was planted. And so they have there is a mixture of Buddhism and Muslim religions in the south. But Buddhism has a long history in that province, and so a lot of the people that we witnessed to, it's not a tourist destination, unlike Phuket where we flew into. Not a lot of people go to Thammarat, at least not Westerners, and so just that in and of itself, garnered a lot of interest, looks, why are these people here?
They were stared at it.
But
they driving on the bus, they were like,
yeah,
they would see a tour bus and go, why is this tour bus here?
So, but the Global Ventures strategy is for mass evangelism is kind of twofold. Is one, to go into schools and share the gospel. They do that in a way tying kind of like American culture, sharing the American culture. And part of our American culture is our Christian heritage. And so that's how we get into the schools to share and be able to share that. We also did outreaches in public areas like bus stops, train stations, markets, and just neighborhoods. Kind of do pop-up events. But a lot of the Global Ventures staff and pastors that they networked with in the area go in beforehand, setting up opportunities within these schools. As Deanna was sharing earlier, our first day of ministry, the first school that we went to, was somewhere between 15 and 1,700 students, all ready to hear the gospel. We did 4 schools that day, and then an outreach in a neighborhood, just our first day. So you take that and multiply it by 10 different groups, you are canvassing a lot of area. They have essentially 3 opportunities to hear the gospel while we're there. So we go in, like I said, to those schools, to those places, present the gospel as part of the cultural heritage of the United States. So that's one. As we leave, we're giving every student that is there, all the teachers, a ticket to a kind of crusade type event as well that happens multiple times throughout the week.
A family festival.
Yeah. And so if they come to that, there's their second opportunity to hear the gospel. And even if they don't come to that, every student is given a small booklet that presents the gospel as well. And that, of course, is in Thai. And they can take that home. And they say that for every one of those that gets taken home, there's the potential for 4 more people to receive the gospel by their parents going, "What'd you bring home today? What's this?" And reading through it, And so they essentially have 3 opportunities. So the daytime, like I said, is schools, public areas of outreach, handing out the tickets, and then we would have on particular nights of the week, we would have a children's festival, and and then followed that up with a family festival as well, which are the crusade type ministries. So they're doing similar things that we're doing in the school, presenting the gospel through drama. They've got full stage, screen, LED screen showing as people are narrating the story of the gospel from creation to crucifixion, resurrection. They're using images on the screen to help present that as well. A lot of the draw, they will also have local bands that would perform, do music beforehand and such to draw crowds in, even those that are in the area who may not have received a ticket for whatnot, but there's a big event going on. Let's come in and see. They give prizes away to the kids and family members as well, so that's another way to draw people in to hear that gospel. So from our time of ministry there with the 10 teams, some of you may have already seen it posted on social media. From the figures that we had, about over 31,000 people we shared the gospel with over 31,000 people. About 22,000 made a decision to follow Christ.
Amen.
And we had 202 documented miracles, healings, and such, whether that be in school or at the crusades. When in the schools, if we're, being as the dominant religions are Buddhist and Muslim, there were some times where our ministries in school were kind of squashed or shut down once we got to a certain point. I think at least with our team, we always, even when we got shut down, we were still, it was after the point of presenting the gospel.
Yeah. So they got it.
Maybe we didn't get to move on to our 5th point, which is, praying for healing and such, but we always made it at least through the gospel. Our team kind of got shut down twice. Once they were going to completely shut us, just make us stop and leave. because they said, well, we wanted more cultural, less religion. So we just pivoted, that way we could stay through the entire time and still hand out the tickets and the gospel books as well. The second time was on our last day, and the biggest school, 2,700 students. And again, we made it through the gospel presentation part, but then they were like, no more, two religions, too much. And so it was a little chaotic at the end. We still were able to hand out the tickets and the books and such. But that was definitely, administration was not being, as welcoming and as,
But they were told that before we came. They must have forgotten that part because it was explained to them before we got to come that was going to be part of the presentation.
Yeah.
So they either didn't hear that part or they just,
but the,
God conveniently made him deaf for a minute or two.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah, really.
and the way we looked at it, Deanna was talking about this a little bit before we started. In Thai culture, people are always nice. They're always smiling. They want to save face in a lot of situations. So unlike here, where people, will very much point out your mess ups and your screw ups. If something happens, they're going to try and
be gracious.
be gracious about it. And so even in the opportunities where we were kind of silenced a little bit, I still believe God used those, because like at that 2,700 student school, they're telling us to get off the stage. So our leader, Martine, she's, oh, our time is up. I'm being told our time is up. But as we are exiting the stage, of course, the whole time, 2,700 students, there's chatter and there's talking.
They're teenagers
in
and
the
they're on their
background.
phones still. Like they're on their phones there too.
But as we're exiting the stage, it gets just so quiet. Like the students know something is up, right? And so even with that, it's, if this wasn't something meaningful and important, why would they shut it? So I'm still believing that even in those times, God is using that to, to nurture those seeds that we just planted and go, well, there's something to this if they're wanting to squash it. And so, but yeah, we did some ministry, and our team did a ministry in hospital, which was amazing, that they would just let you walk into a waiting area and begin to talk to people and pray with people. And the reception, I think we got some stories for you guys about that. But yeah, it was such a different way of doing things than what we have done in the past, even when we were with other organizations, for a longer term. So very effective. The crusade portion of it, even being able to you think when you see a crusade, I don't know, my idea is there's one person, like a Reinhard Bonnke on stage preaching the gospel to thousands of people, and no matter the crowd size. But having them work different people into that presentation, right? It wasn't just John and Martine Smithwick on stage. It was different individuals every night playing a part in the gospel presentation. Us, one of the first night, or I think it was on the Tuesday night family crusade, we got to go up and share testimonies of healings during the healing portion of things that we had seen just that day or that week, and to stir up the faith of those who are in the crowd, expecting and needing healing of whatever. So you're definitely involved in so many different aspects of it. One of the bigger things when you're in schools and stuff is we always have someone as Bubbles the Clown, and which it's amazing that no matter how young or how old, a clown in every culture seems to draw people. And I think
Jaden's gonna share that.
Jaden got to play Bubbles one day. And so if you go on a Global Ventures trip, I recommend be Bubbles. Find a time to be Bubbles. But it definitely stretches your faith. It, just missions in general is that, stretching your faith of putting those things that you say you believe and, you study about, and like Bob said, putting it into action. And, we just sang that song about surrendering. There's a lot of surrendering when, when we follow up and do what we're called to do, which is preach the gospel to all nations, whether that's here or abroad. It's a stretch, it puts you out of your comfort zone. But one of the things that is always good is being with like-minded individuals, going through it together to spur each other on. One of the things that we prayed for leading up to our trip was just unity. We don't know these 95 people from different areas, and everyone being stretched, that sometimes can make people uncomfortable and things come up on teams. But I have to say, we had an amazing time with all of our team, our team of 10 plus, the teams as a whole. There was just a great unity there. Everyone there knowing that we're there for one reason, to preach the gospel, to see God do great and mighty things, whether through salvations, miracles, healings, signs and wonders. And he did. So,
That's good.
yeah, I don't want to take up all the time. I can keep talking, but I will turn it over to whoever is next. I think they all had some stories that they wanted to share. I just want to give a brief overview in case anyone is interested in, partnering with Global Ventures or signing up for a trip. Like I said, their 2027 trips are out there. You can see, I think there's the Dominican Republic, Thailand again, Senegal, and Peru are the 4 for next year at all different times. So if one of those countries is on, or regions is on your heart, this would be a great way to get plugged in and go forth and do what we're called to do. So who's next?
You did that really well, Jason.
Yes.
You want to hold it or? Here. Hold this.
This is first time sharing this in public, you guys.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
He's got it. Okay, I'll keep it short because I know we're out of time. But I wanted to explain a little bit about what he said first. The sacrifice. Obviously they have jobs and stuff, and me and Jason do too. But even then, we kind of just have to, like lack of sleep, and it's really mentally exhausting sometimes when you just all day, every day, kind of just have to, especially with the heat and everything. But really, when you think about, I'm doing this for Jesus, and it's just, the sacrifice, it kind of just puts it all away, really, to where you don't really, it kind of makes you like unselfish, and at some point it actually becomes like really humbling and kind of like in a spot where it's better to be in that spot than, come back home and you just work and routine and all that type of thing. And I think that it's like really, it puts you in a closer spot to God, I would say, to where you're kind of just relying on Him the whole time. You're sacrificing yourself, and you're doing what He's telling you to do. And an example is we went into a hospital, and this kind of really changed my mind about spreading the gospel, especially about age. Is I didn't turn 18 yet. We did when we left, but I used to think 17, and not a lot of adults are gonna really pay much respect to younger kids, especially in Thailand. Older generations really don't give that much respect to younger generation. But Martine, she's really, really great. She basically just said, if God's telling you, there's a specific person, if you want to just pray over them, or we can spread the gospel. And we walked around for like a couple minutes, and there was a group of people just kind of sitting there in the waiting room, and I really felt God, it's like these are the people that you need to go to. So we kind of went up and we shared the gospel with them, and they really, really listened. The translator did really great. I kind of told them my past a little bit about, being adopted and coming from Thailand, which, they were really, really intrigued about that part.
Yeah.
And I felt like, since me being Thai, it kind of really made like a big impression because, they're like, hey, he's just like me. And, I used to worship the same thing they did. And, going back, I can't believe, like I did that. It's crazy. But yeah, after that, then they accepted the gospel and made Jesus their Lord.
Praise
And
God.
we prayed over him. And there was a lady, she was in like really, really major pain in her hip. And after we prayed, and then my mom prayed a little bit with her personally, and she got up and jumping around and it was like really crazy to just after sharing the gospel kind of just like basically Jesus is like they're doing miracles, and at the same time it like really backs their faith. And
Yeah.
next thing heaven is celebrating because people are coming into the kingdom. And I just, it's really, really great. And to the point where, it kind of made me realize, age doesn't really matter. As long as, like, you're doing what God's calling you to do. And, it's not about really, like what you want to do. And it's not really, kind of, you're kind of just doing like where God's telling you to go, where God's calling you, and then just doing it is kind of like it's a Jesus thing, and you really just can't explain it. And I think it was really awesome.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Good job.
Were you able to speak Thai?
Not
Numbers.
really.
He remembers numbers. When they called out the numbers for the winners, he was like, "It's number blah blah blah," and we're like, "Oh, okay, that's great."
Go ahead. It's your turn. Oh, go ahead.
One thing, the first trip we went on that just got me so excited about Global Ventures, I came back and said, this is the way the church should operate all the time.
Right.
Unity with purpose. That is what I came back with the
Me
first
too.
year. Yeah.
That's what we all.
And that's
said.
what he was sharing,
Yeah.
unity. That's what we got to do here.
So during our trip, we met a lot of great people. I miss them already, and it was crazy for me that because here in America, the church is really separated by whether it be politics or denomination or their beliefs. There was none of that while we were out there. Everybody was just one singular body, and we all worked together perfectly. We didn't have any conflicts of interests during the trip while we were sharing the gospel. Everybody had just that singular mission on their mind, and so it made it a lot easier than when people are arguing about how things are done and just like how other people are doing things, comparing things. It was really cool to see people not being that way. On that note, everybody in Thailand was really friendly. It was like a breath of fresh air because when we got back, we immediately started noticing just the rudeness of people. And it was just like, wow, that's crazy. And yeah, like it was, I played the clown Bubbles at one point during one of the shorter days, but during that day, you just seem to have a lot of pull being a clown more than you think you would be. With the younger kids, you get swarmed. There was at one point so many kids coming at me that the teachers were having to pull them away. They were tripping over each other and falling and just tumbling. and I couldn't get them all up before the world just fallen. But I mean, everything I was going to say, the other two kind of covered. So, I mean,
Do
everything.
you want to
went-
share about the bus stop?
Oh yeah, the bus stop. We were at this. We were at a bus stop at one point doing one-on-one gospel sharing stuff, and the first guy that we came across, we were like, let's share the gospel with him. And so we got to talking with him, and he was really attentive, and he ended up getting saved that day, and also
And you
healed
did it.
from some sort of irritation on his skin. And so we shared the gospel with him. He got saved. I didn't see him again, but he said he was going to come to the festivals. But there's thousands of people at these festivals that couldn't find everybody. So I'm hoping he was there and that he was serious about it. But a lot of people got saved. A lot of good work was done, and we hope to come back eventually.
Awesome. So on that note with Jaden, Jaden had surgery on his ankle 2 months before we leave for Thailand, and we're just praying that he's able to walk on it, right? And I feel like God healed his ankle, because every day I would be like, how's your ankle? He's like, it's just a little sore, it's not bad. And then every day it got better and better, and like I was giving him Tylenol and ibuprofen. I'm a nurse, and I'm like my nurse brain, but then my faith has to kick in, right? And so I'm like, well, I'll give you ibuprofen and Tylenol if you need it. And so, but by the end of the last week, it was fine. And then one of the last little schools we went to, we're on the stage and they say, okay, be careful because this stage is a little rickety. And it looked fine. It was just like boards with like about that much in between, and they were painted. And yeah, they were a little it wasn't even. Like you would step on a few boards and then it would go up a little bit. So I thought that's what they meant. And I had the video, but we weren't able to get a video together for you guys. Sorry. We just got back yesterday, but we have it on video where he's was it Jackson playing the cross? Jaden. Okay, so we have this drama, and if you've ever done a GV trip, there's one of you that stands up and is the cross. Well, Jaden is the cross, and he's standing like he's the cross, and then Jason is Jesus, and they're nailing Jesus to the cross. And right when Jaden turns around and finishes that part, of all the people and all the ankles that could have gone through the stage, his ankle, bam, goes through the stage. But it's kind of funny because he didn't have any, it was sore, but after that, he's been walking ever since. He's all good, but God healed his ankle on the trip.
Cool.
But yeah,
That's amazing.
it was crazy. I don't know why I'm telling you that, but just crazy stuff can happen physically to your bodies, especially if you're over age 50, it's okay, you can do this. Like I did it, but at the same time, Thailand has 2.5 days to get there, like one way, and then 2.5 days back. And so the 15-hour flight on the way home, so I don't know what happened to me. So I feel like I'm kind of like dizzy right now, but I'm good. But God is good. But another note is we had water filter day where we got to hand out clean water filters for people. And it was so amazing because, you're over there. There's lots of things you don't do while you're here. You can't drink the water or even brushing your teeth. Different ways to go to the bathroom, different things like that. They really do struggle with clean water. And so it was awesome to be able to partner with, I don't know the name of the group that they partnered with through Global Ventures, partners with a clean water filter company. But they did a whole training and a seminar with a community, and we were able to share the gospel with the community, and they got saved. And then then you're paired up with somebody. Have you guys done that on every trip? Did they do that? Yeah. So we got paired up with people, and you're just randomly paired up with people. And I randomly got paired up with this young girl, and she was 17. and she was there. All the other ones were like adults. But I'm like, wow, this young girl should be in school, right? It's a middle of the week. And I find out a little bit more about her after we put the filter together. And I said, hey, what did you think about the presentation? And she said, I'm Muslim, I don't believe in that. And I said, that's okay. And I said, do you know that Jesus is real? Like, he's healed my sons. And I told her about Jaden getting healed of different things. And I told her about lots of different healings that, like, he's real. Like, and then my translator, she and I got to be really close. And I found out that her mom got healed of cancer 3 years ago, like end stage lymphoma. And I was a chemo nurse for 15 years. And that's like has to be God. Okay. And so I said, I shared about the healings that Jesus had done in our lives. And then I told my translator, I was like, tell her about your mom. So she tells her about her mom getting healed. And at the end, I was like, so are you ready to receive Jesus? Like, because he's real. And she was like, yes. And and every time we would share, she would, like, tears would come into her eyes. And I said at one point, I was like, I feel like the Lord wants me to tell you that he loves you. He really does. And I don't know if you're struggling with loneliness or depression or anxiety. And she was like, all of that. And she's 17. She's living with her grandmother. She has an older husband, and they're not even able to pay for her to go to regular school. Like, she has nothing. And so I said, please come. She prayed the prayer of salvation. She got saved. It was amazing. We both cried and hugged each other. Like, I really know. I thought it was a real deal that she made the decision. And then I said, please can you come to the festival tonight? I'll be there and we can see each other again. And she was like, yes, I'll try to come. That night we walked around all night, and Jason was like, she's here. And Plun, I cannot say her name. Plun's here. And so I'm like, yes. And so I found her and we hugged, and she brought 6 kids with her to the festival, and those kids got saved. And now my translator, I found her, and she lives in the same district as her. So she's going to connect her to her church.
Awesome.
And then the story just goes on.
Oh, man.
And so because we said yes, there's still boots on the ground. Like, it's not just we've been a part of a lot of different missions. We were missionaries full time for 1.5 years with Youth with a Mission, but I've never seen the amount of, like you said, oneness, and just collectively as the Big C Church moving in such a manner. And so I'm so honored to have been a part of this. And every time we would go to a school, I would just imagine, because Jackson was from there, and sorry, I'm getting emotional, but every time we would go to a school, I would see these little boys with their names and their school name embroidered on their little uniform, and we still have his.
Oh, wow.
And I think about, that could be the next Jackson, and we're sharing the gospel. This could change their life. And now he's going back to his home country and sharing the gospel. And on one of the very last days, he said, him and Jaden said, I don't want to go back. I mean, he was almost in tears. I mean, we were in we all shared a hotel room together. I mean, I'm so proud of this family. I'm so proud of everybody that's ever been on a Global Ventures trip, because you really do sacrifice. But when you put Jesus first, all these things are added, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he gives us grace to go through it. But at the end of the trip, Jackson and Jaden both said, I don't want to go back. Jackson said, I just want to tell these kids about Jesus and all these schools. Like, that's all I ever want to do. And I'm like, well, you will, we can keep doing this. And so thank you to anybody that gave. Thanks, Bob and Karen, and anybody that gave to our trip. We just appreciate, because it's not just for a vacation. It's definitely not a vacation. I can tell you that. I'm feeling it right now. We just got back, and that 12-hour flight, you guys know if you know. And we were able to go on the excursion, and it was a couple of days, but we just went, to see the area. But it truly is life changing. And I just have this last verse to share to end it. real quick, and then we're
You
done.
don't have to rush. Take as much time as you want.
Okay. But Jesus did say, we will, it says in the end that many will turn away from me. Jesus is talking, and it's in Matthew 24, 9. I think it starts in 10. And many will turn away from me and betray and hate each other. And many false prophets will appear and will deceive many people. Sin will be rampant everywhere, and the love of many will grow cold. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. And the good news of the kingdom will be preached throughout all the whole
Amen.
earth. Sorry, let me repeat that. And the good news about the kingdom will be preached throughout the whole world, so that all nations will hear it, and then the end will come. And so Jesus is coming sooner than we think, because the acceleration of this gospel is amazing to me. The fact that we preached to how many thousands? 31,000 people heard the gospel on this one trip with 10 teams. That's just one trip. And so if you can go to a Global Ventures trip, or any missionary for that matter, just want to encourage you to do that, and know that, this was just life-changing, and thank you for letting us share for the first time.
Thank you so much.
Just real quick, one thing I did want to share. So Jackson is from Thailand, and for years and years, every night we get together as family, and we pray for Jaden and Jackson's biological family. Jackson was with in foster care in Thailand for a couple of years, and we pray that, his foster mom, who we called Yalong, or he called Yalong, we pray for Yalong that somebody, will reach their family, their biological family, with the gospel. And while we were there, one of the guys that Global Ventures works with, his name is Bob Scott, who's been in Thailand. Thank you. Who's been in Thailand for years and years and years. We got to know him and his boys, and when we did Jackson's adoption, we were in Bangkok, and we got to go visit his foster mom, but we didn't know where we were going, or anything like that. So I asked Bob Scott, I said, if we send you some pictures or whatnot could you possibly figure out, what the area was that, that he was living? And he's like, yeah, just text them to me. So Dana went through some pictures and found some stuff of his school, and we didn't know what these signs said or anything like that. We just sent them to him. And one day we got to talking to him, asking if he got to look at those pictures yet. And he said, yeah. He said one of them was of the name of his school. And so Bob gets on his phone and he types in, the school, and he's like, this is where it is. And he tells us the area is called Ayutthaya. And so Jackson looks at the map on Google Maps, and the school was close to where he lived with his foster mom, and he found his foster mom's house on Google Maps.
Wow.
And said, this is Yalong's house. And so Bob marks it on the map. And so we're talking, and he's messing with his phone. I didn't know what he was doing. And he starts looking, and apparently every time that they go to, because every year they go to a different part of Thailand. And I guess he marks the schools that they visit, or the markets that they go to and do events and stuff. Well, he got to looking, and he said, we were in Ayutthaya 2 years ago in 2024. I was like, oh, really? He's like, yeah. He goes, this market right here, we did a pop-up event at in that marketplace. And he does the directions from Yalong's house to the market, and it was 32 kilometers. And he's like, I was like, well, that's amazing, that you guys were that close to to
Yeah.
where Jackson's foster mom was and all this. And a day or two later, he comes back to me. He goes, I just remembered after the team left, we did another smaller event here, and it was 5 kilometers from. Sorry.
That's awesome.
From Yalong's house.
Wow.
And so he was showing me pictures, and I was looking, I was like, oh my goodness, if I see her picture, because we know what she looks like, we met her. I was like, if I see her in one of these pictures, I don't know what I'm going to do. And of course, I didn't see her, but just to know that, we've been praying for them for years. And 2 years ago, there were missionaries 5 kilometers from her house. The chances of her hearing the gospel, is very, very good. And so I just I meant it with my heart. Because one of the interns, he was on that trip, and he was like, I was there, I was in that market and all this. And so I said, well, thank you guys, because you two could very well be the missionaries that we've been praying for,
Yeah.
Every night, yeah.
Wow.
all these years. Of course, like I said, we don't know for sure if she was at any of those events, but I'd say that story. For one thing, to hopefully motivate anybody who has a heart for missions or a specific area to, one, pray for that area that it will be reached, but to go when you have the opportunity, because just like Bob or Josiah, you might be the answer to somebody else's prayer of reaching someone there. On our way over tonight, that's one of the things I told the boys. Thank you for coming. I know you could be doing other things, but your stories, your experiences could be the motivation to send somebody else out who becomes an answer to someone else's prayer. It may be someone praying in that country who needs to meet Jesus, and just doesn't know. This was the first place of all the mission trips and places that we've gone that really I was meeting people who said either this was the first time that they'd heard the gospel, or I've heard about Jesus, but this is the first time that I've been heard the whole gospel. And so if missions is on your heart, if that is something that is a burden to you, pray and go when God gives you the opportunity, because you are not just God's hands and feet, but the answer to
Yes.
someone's prayers.
Amen. Wow.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yes.
Thank you for all that sharing, everybody. A lot of us in here have gone on GV trips and they're live here. Some of you out in video land, you need to be thinking about it. And it's like Philippians 2:13 says, God works in you to will and to do of his good pleasure. And the next verse says, basically, don't argue with him and don't argue with yourself. So if he's working in you to go, don't argue. Just do it.
And it doesn't have to be overseas. Everywhere we go.
Yeah.
Right.
Whether
Well, that's
school,
true too.
work.
Now I'm going to Peru next summer with Global Ventures, and Karen's still not sure. And some of us are going other places, and some of us are going to Thailand. It's in November next year.
Yes.
So anyway, okay. Praise the Lord. Thank you for sharing. That was awesome. And
Thank you.
make sure you hang around. We'll share some more. You're not allowed to leave yet. I'm sorry. You can sleep when you get home. And thank you for joining us, Video Land. God bless you, and good night.